Daylight breaks over the ridge. The hounds strike. No crowds, no cameras, just a track and the hounds that bring the story to life. That's what this show's about. Dogs, dirt roads, early mornings, and the people who live it. This is Creekside Chronicles. Hounds, hunting, and heritage. I am your host, Heath Hyatt, houndsman, hunter, and a lifelong student of the outdoors. Here, we chase more than game. We chase knowledge about hounds, hunting, and living the outdoor life the right way. From bear country to back roads, this is where the hunt meets heart, and every story runs a different trail. So pull up your chair by the creek, leash up your best hound, and let's get after it together. Performance starts in the feed. Inukshuk's high-fat content fuels long runs and hard hunts, giving dogs the steady energy they need, while quality protein supports faster recovery after the work is done. That's why I trust Inukshuk dog food. Packed with energy and nutrition dogs need to go further, run harder, and recover stronger. If you want extreme performance, you can look them up at Inukshuk Professional Dog Food or Corey.ca. I spent the last week and a half in the far northwest corner of the United States. Yes, I went to Alaska. And while I was in Alaska, I come to the conclusion that there are only three things that you're guaranteed to find on every corner, on every road, in every town. Coffee, cannabis, and a moose standing in the middle of the road wondering why you're in his way. Like, seriously. And I had to do some research on this. But Alaska says that there's about 175 to 200,000 moose roaming around its state, which means there are almost enough moose for each coffee stand to have its own mascot. Like, for real. And I want to tell you about a sign that I seen later on. So if you've ever drove through the Anchorage going to the Matsu Valley and you start wondering if the state animal should actually be a drive-through espresso hut, we probably got something in common. And it was also said by some folks in Alaska that there are more cannabis shops per capita than anywhere else in the country. I would not be arguing against that. I have never seen so many in my life, and they are everywhere. You can pull up, you can get your coffee, you can get your cannabis, and you can get your sightseeing in the same parking lot. It was wonderful. So, for real. But really, there's some things I learned in Alaska that I didn't know. Let's give you a little bit of history about that. So, Alaska actually became the 49th state on January 3rd, 1959. A little bit before my time. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. But before that, it was actually called the Territory of Alaska in 1912. It was purchased, and I didn't understand this until I saw some of the road signs with some writing on it that I didn't understand. It was purchased from Russia in 1867. Listen, for $7.2 million. I got thinking about that. I'm like, Alaska's huge. It's like the same size as Texas, California, and Montana combined. $7.2 million sounds like a good buy to me. So basically, it was about 2 cents an acre. Yes, about 2 cents an acre to purchase Alaska. And I also realized that there was a lot of people from Russia that had came over and settled in Alaska, which I guess I could have put two and two together, but it just didn't hit me until we were up there. So that was pretty neat. That was learning. Let's go back to the moose. So the second half of our trip, we went down into the Kenai Peninsula. And when we hit the Kenai Highway, there's signs up big yellow sign, like big yellow signs. It said there have been 238 moose accidents on the Kenine highways since July 1st. And I'm thinking 238. Like, all right, I want to go moose hunting, and I want to kill a good bull. That's one of my bucket list things. And I'm thinking 238. Like, my goodness, is there any moose left? But when I got to researching it, it said there was 175 to 200,000 moose in the state of Alaska, and I'm like, holy cow! Well, that trip proved pretty much that's true. We seen moose almost every day. One day we seen 10 moose. Most every other day we were seeing multiples. There was one day we did some traveling from up in Wasilla down to the Kenine that we did not see a moose until we got to the Airbnb, and there was one a cow and a calf in the backyard. So take that away. I don't know. We've seen a lot of moose. Like, for me, living in Southwest Virginia, I can look out my window and see deer all the time. We are overwhelmed with deer. Alaska, the moose felt like deer here. And I was thoroughly surprised. And I'm more excited to actually get the opportunity to go and do that. And I met some great people. I will say this about Alaskans. If anybody from Alaska is listening to this, probably some of the most friendly people that I have ever met. Like, everybody from the grocery stores to the gas stations to anything that we had interaction with locals or people that live there. I did notice that too, that we went on a fishing trip. Our guide was originally from Pennsylvania, and after grad school, he and his friend went to Alaska just to spend a summer, decided not to go back. I met another gentleman up in Talkeetna, Jake Fletcher. He actually sits on the advisory board for Alaska, and he was from Missouri, and he went out there after high school to get some experience guiding and helping a guide, and decided to never go home. So I met another lady in the grocery store from Kentucky, from Pikeville, Kentucky. I'm not really sure what took her out there, but she noticed the accent. I can't tell that I have accent, but they sure could. And we got to having a conversation, and she was from Kentucky. So, I mean, there was a lot of people that left the lower 48 and has migrated up there. Now, I will say, let me just give you we'll just start this adventure out, and then we'll get into some dog training, I promise. So we fly out of Dulles. For the ones listening that don't know where Dulles is, it's right outside DC. It was a straight flight, little 6.5 hours flight from Dulles to Anchorage. And I know that I will mention this several times. I hate flying, and I hate flying. But in circumstances like that, it's the quickest way to get there. Because when you Google on Google Maps how long it takes to get from Podunk Town, Southwest Virginia, to Anchorage, Alaska, it was 68 hours and some change. 68 hours and some change so over a week. And I just don't know if I could do that in a car. Maybe. I don't know. So we drop into Anchorage about 8 o'clock at night. Now, again, I know that there's a time difference. Okay. So midnight our time, 8 o'clock their time. And I guess I did not put it together that there's going to be a lot more daylight there than there is at home. So we drop in at 8 o'clock. We go get our luggage, rental car. Then we decide we've got an hour and a half drive up to Wasilla to where our Airbnb is. We need to grab something to eat, whether it's just a drive-through or something. We need to get something. So we go around the drive-throughs, and everything, I don't know, everything was kind of like closing down. We went to, I think it was a Wendy's first, and I mean, there was a line wrapped all the way around the building. So that didn't work. And then we went to somewhere else and then somewhere else. And by the third place, I think we ended up finding another Wendy's actually. Did we actually go to Wendy's first? I don't know. But we ended up going to Wendy's and grabbed some stuff. And that took a while. Got on the road, headed north out of Anchorage. And I think it's Route 1. I think it's Highway 1 up to Wasilla. So by then, like, this is 9:30, 10 o'clock. Like, it's getting a little bit later. Still, I mean, broad daylight. And there's people riding motorcycles. We drive by this park with a little small lake, pond, whatever you want to call it. There's people out at the picnic tables and the shelters. There's people swimming. I mean, it's like lunchtime in Southwest Virginia at 10 o'clock at night. And I'm like, it is bedtime. Like, it's past my bedtime. So anyway, we make our trek up to our Airbnb, and of course, time we get there, it's 10:30ish. And like I said, so that means it's like 2:30ish our time. Now, this old boy was whipped. So I'm like, okay, now how am I going to sleep? Because it's like 3 o'clock in the daytime with the sun up. So they did have some darkening curtains, thank goodness. And was able to sleep. Got up the next morning and was that, well, we need to go to the store, buy some groceries before we get out, and we'll just go around and see what's going on. And so we get out. It's like 9 o'clock, and it's kind of dead. Like, we realize that people are staying up later and getting up later. So 9 o'clock was not bad at all. So we had to run down to the next town and get some groceries. Thank goodness there was a Fred Meyer, which is like Kroger's here, so it all worked out. But yeah, that was kind of our first day in Alaska. And I'll go ahead and tell you the first day. So we come back, we fix breakfast. Everybody's sitting around. We're like, okay, are we just going to rest today? We're going to go do something today. And everybody's like, no, let's go. So, around lunchtime or so, we decided we're going to drive up to this little town called Talkeetna. And so we have to drive like 50 miles north, and it gives you a great view. According to the locals there, we were 42 miles from Mount McKinley or Denali, which Denali National Park was our next day trip. We were going to go there. So we get a really good view of Denali, take some pictures. We go into this little town of Talkeetna, which is a very interesting little town. We go in, we walk through the town. It's nice. They got music, got some restaurants, got some little shops, and we decide that we're going to take a boat ride. And I can't pronounce the river. It starts with an S. Sistana. Anyway, so we decided we're going to take this boat trip upriver because it gives you a really good picture of the Denali. And I didn't know this. So the Denali is 20,310 feet, somewhere like that. And it's usually only visible 1 out of 6 days because of cloud cover, because it's so high, clouds come down. Well, that day was a picture perfect day. Blue skies, you could see it. I was disappointed that you couldn't get closer to it. Even when we went into the Denali Park, like, you're still, 50 miles from the mountain, which is disappointing unless you want to buy a plane ticket and then fly you into base camp, which is at 7,000 feet. So that's where I meet Jake Fletcher and talk to him. Super interesting guy, super nice. Talk to him while we're going upriver. We ended up seeing another bull moose swim in the river. That was really interesting. So bear season's in, so they're spring in certain areas. Spring bear season's in, so we actually find he shows me, he's like, hey, if you hunt, he's like, right there's a bait site, so you can see where the guy had it marked. And he said the guy that hunts in that area is really selective and kills some really nice bears. So that was neat. to see that. And we actually passed a guide as we were going up. He was bringing one of his clients down in a boat. It didn't look like they had done any good that day, but that was really cool, to see that. And then one thing, for you bear hunters out there, something that I learned while I was out there. Now, I kind of picked up on this when I was in Wyoming, but and I'll tell you a story later in the next episode. I'll tell you a story about what happened. But the locals out there do not want to fool with black bear, and they do not want anything to do with grizzlies, which, grizzlies attacks. And while we were there, actually, it popped up that there was the second attack in Glacier National Park, which is in Montana, up in right above Missoula and Kalispell. There was a second grizzly attack in Glacier. But Jake and I got to talking about it, and this is something for us on the East Coast. We really don't see that. We know that the black bear is more scared of us than we are them, right? Most of the time, unless you're in between a sow and her cubs, or you get them cornered where they don't have a choice but to fight, like, they're not going to bother you. Like, they're going to leave you alone. You can bluff them and they'll go on. That's my experience with black bear. Well, in Alaska, black bear is not the top of the food chain like they are here in Virginia. They got to compete with the grizzlies, so they're a lot more aggressive. And one of the guys from here that grew up in the same town that I did, he lives out there now. And while we were out there, his dog got attacked. He lives out there now. But anyway, so the black bear are a lot more aggressive, and the people out there, they don't want to fool with them. Like, they don't want to fool with them. They stay out of areas because of it, which I thought was very interesting, because we don't see black bear in that manner. In the next episode, I will tell you about an encounter that we had. It was wonderful. But yeah, so that was pretty much first day. We spent it up in Talkeetna. I would highly recommend, if you're in Alaska, that would be one of the towns that I would check off. There are some towns that I don't know that I would spend a lot of effort trying to get to them. Everything's so spread out. I mean, you're driving. I will say we spent most of our time in a plane, in a car, a boat, or a bus. You got to get from point A to point B, and come to find out you can't get some places without being in a boat or a plane. So anyway, we'll hold off on that for the next episode. All right, let's get into some dog stuff. I picked up a new project yesterday. So my Jip that I bred did not take. I am highly, highly disappointed in that. But we'll try again. I've talked to Garrett about it. I only bred her one time. I didn't breed her multiple times. So next go around, I'll switch how I do things a little bit, because I'd really like to have a litter out of her. But anyway, she didn't take. So you guys see me posting Zeke. He's 14 weeks old now. Yeah, 15 weeks old. I'm still I'm working on my scent imprinting and into my tracking videos. And as soon as I get all that collected, y'all have to bear with me, because I'm not great at videoing. I'm trying. I'm going to post this stuff on YouTube once I get it completed, and I'll have I'll be able to sit there and explain why I'm doing things a certain way, why I'm not doing it, if I'm skipping this or that. And I have skipped a process with him, because he's come along really quick on the back end of this. So I'm still working on that. So I have Zeke, who, like I said, he won't be old enough to hunt this year. Yeah, I don't know that I'll have him out unless it would be in December, just to do whatever. But so I picked up a project yesterday. So the dog he don't like to be around the back of the vehicle. He shies away from the vehicle, doesn't like it. When I picked him up, we pretty much had to pick him up and put him in the truck. And then when I got him home, he literally, like, as soon as I opened the crate, like, bust out, like, boom, coming out of there. He didn't want to be in the back of the vehicle. So I'm going to work on that here over the next month and try to get that squared away. I'll video some of it. I'll put it on I'll put it on my social media. I don't know that I'll do a whole video of it. I don't know how extensive it'll be, but yeah, the first step is just I'm going to feed him around the truck a couple of days, see how he acts, and then I will start the process of feeding him in the truck, no box, and just going through the same thing I do with my pups. And then once he's jumping up in the truck and eating in the back of the truck, then I'll feed him back on the tailgate, and then I'll put him in the box, and then we'll work on the busting out of there because everybody hates a dog that tries to run over you when you open the box. I can't stand it. It's not for me. We'll work on it and try to get that squared away before hunting season comes in. So we have it's almost July, so we got a couple weeks. Well, we got a month and a week or so. So if I do it a couple times a week, remember, 5 minutes a day, I'll try to get it done during this time. Guys, I'll just be honest. I'm struggling to get my dogs out. Like, holy cow. I haven't got to go down to Doug's and hunt any this year. I haven't got to go anywhere else. So yeah, it's been a struggle, and my dogs they are thick. I noticed yesterday I'm trying to cut the food back just a tad to try to get some of that weight off so I can start working them. And then I'll preload them before season and kind of do it all over. But I need to make a better effort to get them out. I mean, they're out in the yard, but like being out, it just hadn't happened. This is probably one of the worst years I've had. I mean, literally since hunting season went out in December. I mean, here we are a week away from July, and it's not good. It's not good, and it's nobody's fault but mine. And I got to thinking about this on the plane ride back, because you're coming back to reality and you're thinking, okay, I need to do this, I need to do that, along with all the yard work stuff that I needed to do. And I was anxious about getting back to seeing if Sassy was actually going to have pups, and of course that didn't happen. So I've got another project I got to work on with a kennel that I'm going to change up a little bit for pups and for whelping pups. I'm gonna work on that. But yeah, I got thinking on the way back. I'm like, I always preach about we only have 3 months of season, and it's hard. It's hard to do anything with your dogs in 3 months. Like, it really is. I mean, 12 months out of the year, so 9 months out of the year, they're basically laid up unless you're making the extra effort to go somewhere and to do something extra. And this year is like kind of hit home. Like, I normally take the extra steps to do more, and this year just hadn't happened. It just hadn't happened. So I'm really disappointed in myself, and it's frustrating to me. And I've come to the conclusion that if this is going to be the norm, then I don't need all the dogs that I have. I cannot do them justification. So I think what I'm going to do is, I've been really weighing on this, is this training season, I'm going to really hone in, and I'm going to cut my pack back. And I've got nice dogs that I don't want to part with. But like 9 months a year, this year's not been good. And it's not fair to them to be cooped up, pinned up, and not being able to get out and do the things that they're bred to do. And I've got a whole yard full of them. So I'm going to weigh pros and cons, and like I said, I'm going to cut back after season and probably let a few nice dogs go that I really don't want to. But I just don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair. And it's, like I said, my older dogs, they don't need it. You know, they don't have to have it. But with the amount of younger dogs that I have, it's an injustice. So I've just got to be realistic and tell myself this is what's in the best interest of them. And yeah, we'll go from there. So yeah, the plane fight back was like a reality check. Like, this is not working. This is not what we need to do. And, until I can actually retire from work and spend more time, and work's one of the big reasons. I mean, the time off. And of course, the trip to Alaska was, you know, a week and a half of vacation. And if I take more, then that's going to cut off in September, which is when I'd like to take my vacation in December. So it's just a balancing act. It's a balancing act. So back to some dog training. All right. So I've got the one project I'm going to work on, and then I want to go back to Zeke. So he is doing really well, and he done great with the scent imprinting. I know the videos aren't up to date yet, so you're getting a little bit of a sneak peek. I've already done 3 tracks with him, and I went from a 10-foot track to a 30-foot track to a 30-yard track. Like, he popped along really quick, like bam, bam, bam. And I could see it through his, as soon as I seen it, I knew, I'm like, okay, I can stretch him out a little bit. So I did that, but the dog is mouthy. All right. Well, what do you mean he's mouthy? Like, he barks a lot, and I don't like the barking. And he's too young to just start applying pressure. So what I've been doing is, when I go out to if I'm out in the yard, I mean, he's out there mouthing, like, right, and I let him out, like, I let him out during the day. When we're home in the evening, he's out till dark. So we're giving him plenty of opportunities, but he's mouthy. So what I do is, when I go out to let him out, he's barking. Like, he's usually up on the pen. Arr, arr, arr. So what I do is I stand there, and he's learned over a very few short sessions that mouthy and erratic behavior is not getting you anywhere. So I literally stood in front of the door. I've done this 1,000 times. We've talked about this with other dogs. I stand in front of the door with it open. I don't let him out. And when he is calm and cool, then I slowly move my body and give him access to the free world, right? And he has learned very quickly that when I stand still, if he goes and sits, then he can get out. So now what I'm doing with that is I'm extending the duration of that. So what that means is, I'm standing there, I'm making him sit for more than a few seconds. Yesterday I made him sit for probably 15 or 20 seconds, and he actually got up, and then he sat back down. So he's shaping his own behaviors to get what he wants. Well, if you can understand that, like, he can't come out until he's calm and sitting. And if he's laying down, I wouldn't care either. But at this point in time, he's sitting on his own. I didn't tell him to sit. I didn't ask him to sit, but he's doing it. So anyway, yesterday he sat for like 5 seconds. He jumped up and he realized, oh, Dad's not moving. He plopped back down. I made him hold for like 10 more seconds. And then I just slowly said, okay, there you go. And then he started out coming out hot. Like, he'd go out of the pen, he'd start running circles and barking. And the longer that I've done this, he's coming out calmer, less mouthy. It's going away. So I'm just going to keep doing this and installing this in him, and hopefully I can get rid of some of that mouthiness without any type of pressure. It's just basically your operant conditioning, your 4 quadrants, and I'm using his own behavior to reward him or not reward him, basically. So it's been okay. Like I said, it's working. It's slow, and I may have to do something later on. I may have to apply some pressure later on, but right now, with his age, I don't see that that's a necessary evil. So anyway, all right, next couple of weeks, we got some good stuff coming. Got some great stuff coming. And you get to hear a little bit more about Alaska. That's going to be a wrap for this week's episode of Creekside Chronicles. We appreciate you spending your time with us, whether you're in the truck, in the woods, or sitting by the creek just listening along. Thank you for walking this trail with us. And we got to say thank you to W Supply for hosting the podcast and supporting everything we do. Be sure to check them out and go to wsupply.com for all your hound hunting needs. Until next time, keep your dogs fed right, those leads tight, boots muddy, and we'll see you at the tree.
Tailgate drops before the light, coolers packed and the rig sitting right, tracking collars charged, beeping green, boots in the bed and the rifle's clean. Dog box rattling, engines hum, we're chasing bear till the day is done. Old ring barking like he knows what's near, nose to the wind, tail full of cheer. From the Virginia mountains to the Carolina clay, we're burning fuel and miles each day. Every turn's another tale, through mountain mist and paper trails. We see the sunset red in Tennessee, rise through the fog in old WV. North Carolina's pines echo loud with the cry of a hard-run hound. New York forest, Maine's deep snow, Vermont valleys where the black bears go. Truck keeps rolling, wheels don't care. We're chasing daylight, chasing bear. Rest stops few, the roads are long, but the fire in our hearts still burns strong. Wisconsin mornings cutting crisp and clear, Canada's wildwoods drawing near. Still got states we ain't run, but that hound dog fever won't let us quit. We see the sunset red in Tennessee, rise through the fog in old WV. North Carolina's pines echo loud with the cry of a hard-run hound. New York frost, Maine's deep snow, Vermont valleys where the black bears go. Truck keeps rolling, wheels don't care. We're chasing daylight, chasing bear. Gas station coffee, Alpha XL on the dash. Another back road, another bear track. Friends made fast and stories told slow. Under stars where only hunters go. We see the sunrise gold in Canadian air, and it sets on a trail down in Appalachia. Packing steel and leather, grit and care. We're built for the road and chasing bear. So load the dogs and slam the gate. There's a trail ahead, we won't be late. From dawn to dusk, we're always there. Chasing daylight, chasing them bears.